Smash that limiter!
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Hello, everyone. How are you?
I hope everyone's having a good weekend so far. I now have a new camera. Yeah, and it has backgrounds. Look at that. Look at
Has
watch this.
backgrounds.
Yeah,
Is that so? There's software on the
Yeah.
camera, and then from the software of the camera it goes to OBS. Is that how that works?
yeah. Yeah. So as you can see, it's following me, so I can get up.
At least you now know what you look like without ears.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the issue I was having with the background, it was like it was like we're getting the
Distracting.
reflections and stuff like that. Yeah. So I was just like, let's just get rid of the background and then some of my facial features as well on my side. That's all right. Just like make it fucking disappear. But it's really
Yeah, why not?
the tracking's really handy. So it's fucking way better than that piece of fucking shit that I had.
Yeah, you look less orange now.
Yeah, the color, like I don't even have the light on. I've just got the blinds up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it looks really good.
That's great.
Yeah, no, it's good. Way worth that money, and it was even on the podcast when I noticed it was on special and I bought it. So, but I'm set, ready to go. A little bit of a late stream today. I mean, look at my cappuccino. It's fucking love that coffee machine.
Oh, I should really go make myself a coffee.
It's the best thing ever, making a good coffee.
Yeah, good coffee's good.
Yeah, fucking oath. So yeah, that came in quick. So I ordered it Sunday. Literally after we got off the podcast, I ordered it. And then it came in. And I also have ordered a Rhino rack for my car. And when that comes and everything's all good for that to be mounted to the car, I will order the awning as well. So that's gonna be fun. So yeah, all exciting. It's all happening. Spliffy. It's all fucking happening.
It is. I ordered 4 more audio processors,
Yeah.
and so hopefully that's going to be moving forward. And I'm going to have to, when that all comes in, I'm going to get an audio in a brand new audio interface. I've had my current audio interface for 8 years, something like 8-9 years now.
No.
I learnt that the other day when I really need to upgrade because I wiggled the USB output on the back of it and it crashed my whole computer.
Oh, really?
So it's like, yeah, I think it's time because I want 8 inputs and ADAT expandability. And so once I'm done with it, there's one rack featuring 8 inputs. Will be a 21 IU rack. I've currently got a 16, so I'll need to upgrade that too.
So what is the benefit of buying all this equipment for you just on your own though? It's just because it's cool and you can mess around with audio a lot easier, or
Yeah. Well, okay. So say for example, if the benefit of what shall we say? The benefit. It's kind of a bit of a personal goal of mine to build a studio, and having all of this equipment allows me to make mixes with outboard gear as opposed to plugins. Not that it doesn't really matter either way, but it's a personal goal of mine to be able to make entire mixes with outboard gear. And if I have 8, then I can process 8 channels at a time. The goal ultimately, I'm hoping to have this done in the next 5 years, is to essentially have 24 channels. It's basically going to be a 24 channel super standing console. It's a 24 channel standing console is what I'm trying to aim for.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully by maybe this time next year I'll have the money to just basically go to my supplier and say, hey, I want this, and then build another 8 channels out of it, and then the following year after that do it again, so that way I can connect it all together and have 24 channels of audio.
All right, that's cool.
Just for the hell of it.
That's sick. So, and then are you gonna like eventually when you get your own house, eventually?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
gonna
eventually.
have your own studio booth that's soundproof and all that shit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'll probably turn. I mean, it really depends on what house I end up getting, but essentially, I want to have a control room and a live room, and
Yeah.
essentially knock a window out. Basically, knock a big what's it? Knock out a big section of the
Yeah.
wall that
Yeah.
connects the live room to the sound or to the control room, and then basically put a window there, and then just go from there. Essentially, just have this big live room that I can get bands in. Which I've been riding my bike recently. I've been noticing there's a lot of people where I live that play instruments.
Oh,
So that should be interesting.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. On different news today, says
Yes.
normally we don't really get that controversial. I don't know if you've seen this. You might have seen it doing its rounds, but
Maybe depends on what it is.
so did you see this video? So you know how like there's an old saying, it's like the old World War II veterans would roll in their grave to see how we've come in this modern age, right?
Right.
Because you know how things have turned in globally, like especially in the Western
Yeah.
world, like what's been going on around the world. Well, there was actually a World War II vet that they brought on. I don't know where it was. It was on obviously. It was either England or Australia. No, it wasn't Australia. I'll have to look it up.
Did he sound English or Australian, or was it too difficult to tell?
It's hard to tell. I've seen him
Yeah.
before.
Okay.
He wrote the book The Luckiest Man Alive.
Oh, wait, no, that guy. Yeah, he's 100 years old, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah,
Yeah. I read his book.
Boarding. Uh,
Yeah, he grew. I think if we're talking about the same person, he grew up
He's literally the
in
only
Germany.
one alive. So Britain. He's British.
Is he British? Because
Yeah,
the
British.
luckiest man alive. No, I'm thinking of the happiest man alive. Never mind.
No,
I'm
I
thinking of the
think
happiest man alive, not the luckiest man alive.
he may not be. He may not be that guy, but
Regardless,
might be
what?
regardless. Anyway, Alec Penstone's comments.
That sounds really
Alec
familiar.
Penstone, 100-year-old British World War II veteran. I wish I could play the video, but it would get fucking copyright strike straight away. These news articles are relentless on that shit. Current state of the United Kingdom. Alec Penstone served an extensive career in the Royal Navy, having been aboard the HMS Companion. I'm not gonna bother fucking saying that. As people across British Commonwealth, Don the popping on blah 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 blah. My message is: I can see in my mind's eye rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my people and everybody else that gave their lives for what? He replied to the show's host. The country of today? No, I'm not. No, I am sorry. I'm fucking up his quote. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now. And he's 100% right. It's really sad. He then continued on to say that we fought for freedom and we don't have that in this day, in this country anymore. We lost
Which is
freedom and it's our own fault, sort of thing. It's what he was getting at, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where he's coming from, and that is true. I would say, because
true.
you just when you there's I don't remember this. I met this bloke years ago who was going to university for political science, I believe it was, or some sort of subset of political science, and he basically explained that it's inevitable that a government basically just keeps implementing policies to the point where it's inevitable that it becomes a tyranny because they just keep implementing more and more policies, more and more rules. Like, well, what did you expect? Like, it's difficult
And they never
I think one of the
undo them
biggest
either, which is
difficult.
what pisses me
Oh
off.
yeah,
They
that
never
they
undo
don't
them.
review them, which is a problem.
Mm.
Because I mean, the fact that you would even have to review them in the first place is that's a problem in of itself. Because then, what was the point of the law to begin with?
Like take Australian law. Like there's laws that have been around for many, many years, that have never changed. Like the biggest one is squatting laws. Same in America. American Australia have squatting laws, which is like when the webcam thinks I said stop tracking and just flashed at me because I did that. It does hand gestures, so yeah.
Oh,
So so the squatting laws originated from England, and basically, if someone is squatting in your on your property for X amount of time, they then get rights, and you have to go through a very long, tedious process of evicting them, because they basically becomes tenants, which is bullshit because they're not paying for it.
yeah.
But that's
No, that makes sense.
that is an old law that actually originated in England. And so when Australia and America, because we both have very similar laws, and Canada, I think, and New Zealand as well, we all kind of took these weird laws on board without changing them, or like not even having them. And it's the same with like the law that if you have a horse and you go up to a pub, this is in Australia, the pubitarian by law has to provide your horse with food and water. It's an actual law.
Yeah, but they
never got rid of it.
Yeah, but that law.
I mean, admittedly, like no one's going to well, actually, no. Someone could enforce it if they wanted to.
Like,
A copper
if they
can
wanted
enforce
to,
it, yeah, easily. But
but
no one's going to use it though. Is what I'm getting at. And
yeah, because
yeah. Sorry, you were saying.
no, that's all right. All I was gonna say is like everyone has to know that the law even exists for it to be enforced.
Yeah, exactly. But there's so many laws that no one understands in Australia.
Yeah.
And anyway, but the problem now, this is what the veteran was saying, is there's no freedom anymore. You don't have freedom of speech. In Australia, there's no such thing as freedom of speech. It's always an implied sort of thing. There's no set thingo. In England, there actually is freedom of speech laws, but they've kind of mutilated them. And they've mutilated them by adding the hate speech stuff. And so this is the problem, is now you don't have freedoms. Like, you're not free. And if you say anything that disagrees with the mass, then it's regarded as hate speech and you can be arrested for it. And some guy actually the other day in the Supreme Court of UK got sentenced to 7 months in prison because of a Facebook post where he said, in my opinion, and he did use the word in my opinion, I do not want my taxpayers' money going towards immigrants who rape, murder, and commit serious crimes. That was his post. He's been sentenced to 7 months jail. And the judge turned around and said, because I watched the video, and the judge turns around and says, this is a serious offence. What you're saying is hate speech and intolerance that I will not accept. Now, because you pleaded guilty, I will give you some alleviation. Instead of 20 months, it is 7 months, but you will be sentenced 7 months in prison. And then he fucking sentences him, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like... he didn't say like all immigrants and all that sort of stuff. He was just like, in my opinion, I think that immigrants who do this and this and this shouldn't receive any tax, shouldn't receive any of my money from the government.
That makes sense to me.
Like, I don't want to be spent on them. I want them basically to be shipped away. But apparently that's hate speech in the eyes of English courts, and they're arresting children for saying things like that. And this is what scares me about our government, because they are trying to I mean, hate speech is already there, but it's more of like it has to be in a derogative term. Like the precedent was set in courts by it has to be like derogative, but it can change. It can always change. But the problem is, once it changes, it can't go back. That's the problem. It's just such a dangerous line to when you start doing the thought police policy making and that. Yeah, you can't it's gonna be a war, and it's gonna be like civil wars amongst countries. I think, like not amongst themselves, but amongst the people. So like America, us, England, all that. Like there's gonna be a fucking war amongst ourselves, and it's all gonna be over this shit because there's just at the moment they're just pounding us and pounding us and pounding us, and something's gonna break, or we just give in, one or the other.
I think what's going to happen. You remember that video? You remember that video of that? I don't know if she's Scottish. I'm pretty sure she's Scottish. That young girl who brandished a knife and an axe, and she was defending herself from migrants.
Yes, she got
their
charged
legal
with that,
their legal status doesn't really matter in this particular context.
No.
When
She
I
was
saw that
attacked and defended
video,
herself.
when I saw that video, I realized, okay, immigrants have about 20 years, probably, let's just say 10 to 20 years to leave places like in England, because when when people like that girl grow up, then they're not going to be tolerant of
Nope.
they're not going to be tolerant of immigrants, or
No.
like, whether they're the particular groups of immigrants or just immigrants in general. So it's going to get to a point where immigrants will have 10 to 20 years to leave places like England, because after that, the option to leave is no longer an option, because you like that's when a lot of these immigrants are probably going to be sent to the train station, if you know what I mean.
This is the thing that people got to understand in the world. Hatred is a funny thing because you can breed hatred. The easiest way to breed hatred is removing double standards. You know what I mean?
I don't know. No, I actually don't know what you mean. What do you mean by that?
So for example, we'll take that example for that young girl, right? She was attacked and assaulted and defended herself. She was charged for that.
Right.
The people that attacked her got way less of a punishment than she did. That's not double standards, is it? If anything, she shouldn't get punished at all because she was defending herself. But
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. She got worse punishment than they did, and it happens time and time again. And then also, like you said, she's now got a negative perspective on this group of ethnic people, which is going to breed hate because it always breeds hate. And it's going to fester, and then her experiences will be shared onto the people that she knows, and then they will be horrified, and then they will breed hate out of it because, this happened to someone I know. This is a reason why the war on terror doesn't work, because it's the same thing. You kill one person, and then his family members that were kind of like on the fence about becoming a terrorist, you've just made their decision for them. So now you've gone from one terrorist to then making 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just goes up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're just spreading the amount of people that now have just made up their mind they hate you. And the exact same thing's happening with immigrants, is because our government, and this is happening in Australia, our government time and time again has become so soft-handed with dealing with crimes. Now, I'm not talking about law-abiding people, because they're not even the scope of people's eyes. No one even looks at them because they're doing the right thing. So I'm not talking about those people at all. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or anything like that. As long as you're just peaceful and you just go about your day and you respect everyone and we respect you, no dramas with that. But I'm talking about people that are going around attacking people and breaking and entering, and then the police arrest them, and then they let them go on bail, and then they go to court, and then the courts just let them basically get away with it, or they don't even sentence them to prison. Like that guy that recently got killed. So it was gang related. So he got killed by a rival gang. So he was charged. This is in Victoria. He was charged with the involvement of a murder of a rival gang member. The judge turned around and let him get off the hook because he said, "Oh, you won't do it again." Then that guy continued on.
Yeah.
So he had to do community service and whatnot. He continued on to do many more crimes. Admittedly, he didn't get killed. He didn't kill anyone, but the rival gang definitely got their just desserts, and they ended up killing him.
It's almost like taking him to prison. It's almost like prison was safer for him.
It would have been, yeah. But like in my eyes, yeah, it's kind of karma in a way. But this is a problem. It's like the more a government does things like that, where they give one group of people, being immigrants, we'll just say immigrants for now, and that covers all varieties, and they're committing crimes, and they're just getting basically slap on the wrist punishments. But then an Australian citizen, doesn't matter about background, but Australian citizen then does a similar crime, but then gets the book thrown at them. That breeds hate, because there's the double standards gone, isn't it? This is what I mean. Like
right? Okay, gotcha.
You can't. This is a problem. You cannot be worried about racism, because at the end of the day, racism is just a tool to sort of get what people want. Like in these days, it's an argument to just try and sway people to make you change your mind. Oh, that's racist because, it's because of his background, and that you're deciding to make him go to jail. No, he's deciding to take him to jail because the guy beat the crap out of a little girl or a little boy or another person, or he broke and entered into a home. Doesn't matter about his background. He committed a crime. That's why I'm putting him in jail. But then people throw and the government's just scared of that for some reason. I don't know why, but they just are. I don't get it. I don't know why they're scared of these little groups of people, but yet the mass they're not scared of, and they just make laws that fuck us over. Like, I don't get it.
Might be a votes thing, like a whole if I'm not popular, then I won't get votes.
But they're not the people that carry on like this. They're not the majority. This is what I don't get. They're not the majority. The majority of people are just normal people. Yeah, most of them are stupid, but they're normal. Majority of people just want to live their life. So
yeah, that's fair.
But I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or another week or even next year. Like, this sort of hatred is just going to fester, and it's going to get to a stage in probably maybe a decade, and it's just going to be, our country's going to be like running to the ground, and it's going to be not nice. We'll be alive for it, but it's not going to be nice. I don't reckon anyway.
Well, typically conflict is never a nice thing.
No.
Not even just conflict, but confrontation in any regard, really, because when you have confronting someone about something is always uncomfortable. I don't think anyone's ever felt comfortable confronting someone about
But the thing
about
is,
something.
So you need, like, people in modern life have grown so scared of just being honest with each other. They have to pussy fart around. They never direct. And that's a problem. Is just people can't be direct with each other. They just can't speak the truth. They have to sort of half-ass explain how things are going and stuff like that, because they're too afraid of hurting someone's feelings. The day you start worrying about people's feelings is the day that you can't lose communication, really, I think. Because everyone explains things in different ways, so you're never gonna not confuse or upset someone, because everyone's different. There's just so many varieties of backgrounds and stuff. So I don't know. But what will happen is the government's going to continue doing what it does, because, like you said, they'll just keep making policies that make it harder and harder and harder to abide by the law and to live normally, really. I'm not necessarily saying it'll be like a tyrant country, but I think they're going to keep pushing the working class, the people that actually like hold the country up, down and down further. And the day that the working class, so the average people in these countries, Australia included, that they can't afford to live, is going to be, I think, the point in time where it will break. And then there will be probably some sort of revolt or something. It may not necessarily be violent, It could be politically, or it could be economical. Like, could be like mass strikes all around where people just refuse to work because what's the fucking point if you can't work and live? You know what I mean? Like, if you work, but then you can't, the money you get from work can't afford to pay the bills, and what's the point of fucking working?
Yeah.
You know, it could go down that route. You never know. I mean, it's that expensive now. It's hard enough as it is now, so it won't take much. But
Question. I
and
think
when that happens, the EV and hybrid only laws will pass in Australia.
yeah, it
It
really
will happen around
it
there, I
really
reckon.
depends on what happens in the political climate, because
I'll be right
what
back.
I think is going to happen, what has been happening since whenever these sorts of whenever these sort of things pop up, I often remind myself of this lamp post, this light post that is rather, what's the word? Extravagant looking. It looks really like, it looks architecturally beautiful, and it's a picture with a caption above it saying, "Why do we make like architecture like as beautiful as this anymore?" Um, and basically someone answered that with a response saying, "Well, this is basically because due to the Great Depression." So since the Great Depression, all that's really been happening throughout times is that as things become more abundant, we get beautiful architecture that lasts, like, basically lasts a lifetime. But then when we get to these what's the word? We get to these tumultuous times where it's difficult to get from point A to point B with the same architectural beauty that we had 2, 3, 10 years ago, things sort of start to lose they lose their beautiful forms for more functional forms. So what I think is going to happen is that in the political climate, we're going to have a lot more politicians that focus more on the practical element as opposed to the abundant element, just to get from point A to point B. And then after that, who knows? Maybe we'll go back to having politicians that enforce multiple different policies that maybe clamp down on freedoms, or maybe they enhance freedoms. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because it will happen in our lifetime either way.
I mean, it has to. It's
Yeah,
inevitable
it
that
is
these sorts of
inevitable.
things happen.
And
It's kind of like,
what's the bet it all fucking happens as well when a world war breaks out as well? It's like, you know what I mean? Like,
well,
it's just it's all building up now. Like, we've had so many turning points in our society in our lifetime already. COVID was one of them. Like,
yeah, COVID was a big one. COVID was probably the biggest
yeah.
in our lifetime. The 2000, I don't know how. I mean, I wasn't really overly conscious, or I wasn't really politically conscious at the time, but you also had the 2008 financial crisis. But I've heard that but Australia wasn't really that affected by it. We were more
No.
affected by the 2000s financial crisis.
Well, even September 11
That had actually, there's something
that
I
had
wanted to do a bit of
global
research.
that had
That
global
had huge
repercussions.
impact.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to do a little bit of research on that one as well,
Yeah.
because I'm curious. Are you familiar with the Patriots Act?
No. I've
Okay,
heard it. I've
so
heard it before. I've probably
yeah,
had someone
so
explain it to me, but I just kind of,
basically, the Patriots Act was the US government's ability to spy on their own citizens.
yeah.
So what I wanted to find out, I might even look it up now, is basically you had the 9/11 attacks. Obviously, everyone knows when that happened, but
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's the gap time? What's the delay time between the 9/11 attacks happening
Why did I say
and the
September?
introduction of
Oh, it is. No,
what's
it is September 11, isn't it? Yeah, because
September 11th? Yeah, 9/11.
Because Americans
So
do things backwards. I forgot about that.
what's the chances? Okay, this you want to hear my conspiracy theory? Well, it's not my conspiracy theory, but it's sort of like connecting the dots that makes me sound like a crazy motherfucker. So what I wanted to figure out, what I wanted to look up was basically the moment that when did the 9/11 attacks happen, and then when was the Patriot Act basically enforced? Because if it turns out that you have a multi-thousand page act that's enforced, say, I don't know, 3 months, or it could even be weeks after the 9/11 attacks. Like, how the fuck do you write up a law that big in that amount of time? Right? You want to
Well,
hear a fucking crazy theory?
they've already had it. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that story that a lot of conspiracy theories think the government used 9/11 or orchestrated 9/11 as a front to be able to enable that act. I've heard that before.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
You want to hear the other part?
I can't remember. Yeah, sure. I
So
know
basically, I reckon that the 9/11 attacks was the lead up to the 9/11 attacks started in 1983, I think it was, when the USSR invaded Afghanistan. And the US military obviously didn't wanted to contain. It's the act of containment that was introduced by President Truman at the time. They couldn't basically they wanted to prevent the USSR from invading Afghanistan, but the US Army couldn't go into Afghanistan because the US Army had lost so much support from the American people as a result of the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
So they needed an alternative. The alternative was to just arm the Afghan people with weapons, and the most affordable weapon, the cheapest weapon to basically manufacture at the time was the AK-47. So the US Army basically basically supplies the Afghan people with AK-47s, and then they successfully defend themselves, but in doing so accidentally basically give power to the Taliban. So
well,
as a result,
they created the Taliban. This is the part of the Cold War
yes,
stuff. So the Taliban
yes,
were basically trained by American CIA operatives in guerrilla warfare to combat against the Russian invasion.
yes.
And
So
then the Americans went in after the Russians were left because they were trying to take control of something, but the excuse was is to push out the rest of the Russians or something like that, or push out the Afghanistan Russian like sympathizers or some bullshit. But
something like that. I'm
something
not
like that. But
entirely sure about that part of it.
I think the reality was it was over control over some sort of resources like oil or something.
Yeah,
I think
so
oil was the main drive, but yeah.
the conspiracy theory that I've sort of more or less put together, maybe sloppily, who knows? But
Yeah.
essentially, the US supplies weapons to the Taliban, accidentally make the USSR, and essentially do the 9/11 attacks so that they can gain support from the US citizens to get into the Middle East, take out the Taliban, get some oil, and space and enforce the Patriots Act at the same time.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I'm
it's a fucking you get 3 for 1. Who's gonna say no to that?
at the end of the day, 9/11 was a result of the Gulf War, of like Americans in their conflicts in Afghanistan and the Middle East and Kuwait and all that.
Right?
Because at the end of the day, if they never went to the Middle East, then the Taliban wouldn't have any reason to be angry at them. Because that's
Okay.
what 9/11 was. 9/11 was Osama bin Laden's "fuck you" to America, basically.
Right. So the USA
yeah.
Patriots Act was enacted on October 26th, 2001. So not even 2 months later,
Yeah, no,
the Patriots Act was enforced, which is like, holy shit.
They were probably on fence, and they probably tried to pass it through a few times, but then it got knocked back. But then 9/11 happened, and then suddenly everyone's on the warpath.
Voila.
Then, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. No, it's 100% probably what's happened. But like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realistic person. If it kind of adds up together and it looks like what it is, it most likely is. Like the world governments aren't that smart. Like,
they're not stupid either.
they're not stupid, but it's always the most logical thing that makes the most sense. If money's involved and something that makes their life a bit easier, then it's most likely going to be that sort of case. With everything, because at the end of the day, governments always look out for themselves first and then look out for the people like second. Unless they're a really patriotic sort of person, but there's not that many of them anymore. So there used to be once upon a time, but patriotism in their own country is kind of sort of gone off the wall a little bit. People don't really care about their own people. So as out for yourselves mentality is the most common thing nowadays. But yeah, it's interesting anyway. It is very, very interesting how things are going.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just going to be. It's just going to be. I reckon. What's happening now, I reckon, is a result of a lot of things not being not being finished up. Problems that haven't been finished up or loose ends as a result of the Cold War, I reckon, is what's happening now. So I'm curious to see what happens if, what happens in the next, say, 50 years when the Cold War never actually ended, when the USSR dissolved at the end of 1991. It was only a very small part of what happened.
Yeah.
And maybe the Cold War never really ended. It was just became a part of life.
I mean, it's no, it has stopped now, I guess. America's not really fighting Russia anymore. They still like backstab each other politically and economically, but there's no real talks of them gonna duke it out with each other. Though, did you hear about their new nuke that the Russians developed?
I'm not surprised, but no, I haven't.
All right, so it's quite scary.
Right.
It's probably the most scariest nuke you could ever think of, actually.
Even more scarier than the Tsar bomb.
Oh, that's nothing compared to this.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. So
go on.
So 90% of the nukes that are currently around today are designed to explode in above the target, and it uses the yield of energy from a thermonuclear detonation to basically destroy a massive amount of area. It's not as big as you think it is, like in terms of kilometers. It's not that big. Like, yeah, it'll wipe out a city or a big chunk of a city, depending how big the city is, but it's not that big, and the fallout's not that big either. People think fallout, like, there's so much misconceptions about nukes, and
nuclear bombs don't create a fallout like a nuclear reactor.
No, they do not. And the way they detonate is like a thermonuclear bomb uses a fission nuclear device, a small one, to then start a chain reaction to then turn into a fusion reaction, which is very different to a fission reaction, which is what originally is used to start it. Anyway, long story short, shoot up in the air, detonate. There you go. Now, there is some treaty or something like that you're not allowed to develop anti-nuclear missile technology. The point of it is so then that way no country can combat a nuclear bomb, so therefore, by law, a country is less likely to fire said nuclear bomb or missile, because they would most likely get it sent right back to them, and they technically can't defend themselves. We all know that's probably a lot of shit, and companies very much are using anti-missile technologies to be able to do that. But anyway, so yeah, that's just an idea of like to try and keep people from using them, as by saying you can't defend yourself on them. But the Russians have developed a nuclear bomb, or actually it's not a nuclear missile, it's more of like a torpedo that cannot be detected by any sensor, period. So basically, if it fires, you won't even know it's there, and they themselves can't even detect it, and they're the ones that fire it. So what?
Oh boy, that's
wait.
my favorite.
So what the this is not designed to create an explosion within a city. This is designed to hit a city with a fucking huge tsunami.
Right.
So what it does is a torpedo that can go for fucking ages, like miles and miles and miles. It's got its own onboard battery system and everything. So it's like a remote controlled sub, but it's all completely self-guided. And it will launch out of a ship or submarine, and it will slowly, not fast, slowly make its way to within a certain distance from a coastline of its target, and then it will detonate at a certain depth to generate the highest yield tsunami. And then it uses the tsunami to attack its target.
Far out.
Now, there's no fallout or anything like that because it's all in the ocean. The ocean's actually really good at absorption of radiation, so it's not going to like kill anything like that. But the problem is a tsunami is no one besides Japan has defenses against tsunamis. So, and you wouldn't even know it's coming because, like, you know, usually you can sort of get an idea if a tsunami is going to happen because you get an earthquake, and then usually that's what generates a tsunami is you get an earthquake, and then you can sort of calculate where it's going to be. But this thing, you can't detect when the torpedo's fired. You can't detect where it's going. It's that quiet that sonar doesn't work, so you can't hear it because it's dead silent. That's why it goes slow. Because the slower it goes, the quieter it is.
Right.
So it can get to its target basically stealth. Nothing can detect it. The only way you can't see it because it's at a certain depth that you can't see from above. And it's made out of materials that are non-magnetic. So if you have a plane with a mag boom, which is like what our planes based in South Australia have, it's like a big long boom and it searches the ocean floor with electromagnetic waves. So it can see objects and stuff like that in the water. Basically, it sends an electromagnetic wave down into the ocean floor and then it receives the image back. So it can map, essentially. But it can't see this torpedo because the torpedo is made out of material that is stealth to that. So it like absorbs or it does something and it's invisible to it. So like that's kind of fucked up. So like they developed that in this era. Like not that long ago they developed it. So you know, they're not going to use it because it's against the treaty of nuclear war, and if they do use it then America will use nukes on them and all that sort of shit. So but still pretty scary to think that they've basically made a tsunami bomb. Yeah, fuck, man. People really get ingenuity about killing each other, don't they?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. What's the most? Some people will grow up one day. It's like, what's the most effective way to kill a lot of people?
Like, I could just see that when they made the anti-missile technology with the laser beam, the high-powered lasers, that someone in the American sort of thing was like, can we turn this into a death ray? Can we use this to mow down lots of people? And then all the scientists are like, nah, not really. It's not effective for that sort of purpose because it has to sit at one target for a while, and that's what it does. Just sits there and superheats one spot and damages the electronics in the missile, which is what disables it. Like, and it's like, but I'm sure you could destroy a tank with this. No, can't.
Can we strap this to a
Can we strap this to sharks and have the sharks do it for us? Yes, sure, Dr. Evil.
We'll strap this to sharks and then we'll launch sharks out of missiles.
Oh my god. Fucking.
Oh fuck.
On a side note of technology though, have you heard about these new battery systems that use salt? Sodium ion. Sodium ion batteries.
I've heard about the what is it? No, what is the sodium? Was it the sodium? I don't know. Look, I'm just gonna say no.
Yeah, this is interesting. You could probably count this as a technically this would be a solid state, wouldn't it? It
Yes.
would be, I think.
If it's sodium ion battery, I can't read that because it's not the same. It's not the same resolution, so some of the pixels are
Yeah.
packed together, so they're not actually
Yeah, they're a
showing.
little bit.
That's okay.
Maybe I'll send it to you so you can have a read for
Yeah, okay.
yourself. It's interesting. So like it uses sodium ion instead of lithium ion, which makes sense. I mean they're the same sort of family. Um,
I mean, an ion is an ion, really.
yeah, but sodium and lithium in the same reactive class in the periodic table is what I'm getting at.
Let's have a look.
You know how they like to shed their electrons or gain electrons, etc. Shed, I think they got one extra.
Ye-
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't
period.
remember. It's been a while now.
Yeah, I need to look it up too.
It's been a long time since. Close metal element, same group, blah, 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 blah. Though sodium is way more reactive than lithium, I can assure you that it explodes toilets if you booby trap it.
Oh.
Happened at a high school that a
Lithium.
friend of mine went to. Is the
Sodium.
nerds
Oh, yeah, because it's got.
decided to get back at someone and they end up blowing up a toilet block. True story. What they did is they stole a whole heap of sodium from the chemistry lab and they put it behind the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
And when I say exploded, like I'm not talking about like a huge like pipe on explosion. Like it exploded to the point that it broke all the toilets and fucking caused a lot of issues. No, so they put it behind this toilet to prank someone. I don't know exactly who. I can't remember. It was so long ago now. Anyway, luckily for everybody, the toilet was leaking, so it dripped on top of the package of pure sodium.
Oh, yeah.
That was wrapped in duct tape and whatnot, and it managed to get into it, and it did detonate, and well, not detonate, but react, and so it exploded while no one was in the toilet. Thank fuck for that, because apparently, like the toilet that it was on was just completely destroyed. And it destroyed like all the plumbing, and the cubicles next to it had like holes all through it and shit, and
Yeah.
yeah, it made a mess. So that toilet was basically out of action for quite a while. Don't mess with nerds. Anyway, so yeah, sodium is way more reactive than lithium. Lithium catches on fire, sodium can explode.
Due to the characteristics of sodium salt, it is allowed to use low concentration electrolyte within the same concentration of electrolyte. The conductivity of sodium salt is about 20% higher than that of lithium electrolyte to reduce cost. Okay, sodium ions do not form an alloy with aluminium, and aluminium foil can be used as a current collector for the negative electrode, which can further reduce the cost by about 8% and reduce the weight by about 10%, which will further reduce the cost. Because that's going to have a compounding effect if you put these in cars. Since the
Yeah, it'll
sodium
be way
ion
lighter.
battery has no over discharge characteristics, a sodium ion battery is allowed to discharge to 0 volts. Oh, the energy density of sodium ion batteries is greater than 100 watts per kilogram, which is comparable to lithium ion phosphate batteries, but its cost advantage is obvious, and it is expected to replace traditional lead acid batteries in large scale energy storage. That would be interesting because sealed lead acid batteries are really powerful. They've been around for like what, over 100 years at this
And then
point.
now you've got AGMs as well.
Yeah, I'm not really over familiar with AGMs.
AGM
What is
batteries. AGM is just basically it's a gel.
Yeah, is that all?
Actually.
What
No,
what does
it's more
AGM
complicated.
actually mean? AGM
Yeah,
battery
because like most of your secondary batteries are AGM deep cycles. My
meaning
car now has got an AGM battery as its main battery now too. I replaced it with an
absorbent
AGM.
glass mat, which
Yeah.
I'm guessing is short for material,
Yeah.
or a rechargeable lead
They're
acid
super
battery.
heavy. Super heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the sulfuric acid electrolyte is absorbed into a thin glass fiber mat that separates the lead plates. This design makes the battery spill-proof, maintenance-free, vibration-resistant, and safer than traditional batteries. AGM batteries are often used in modern vehicles with features like start-stop systems and are well suited for applications like off-roading and power
Yeah.
accessories in RV. Okay.
The good thing
And then,
about
but
AGM batteries as well is you can repair them. So my DC charger, sorry, my AC DC charger, the 240-volt charger,
yeah.
that has a repair function for AGM. So it will actually
Oh,
repair the batteries. It does it through some sort of electrical magic. It will repair the batteries to bring them back to. It will never bring them to 100%, but it can repair them to the point that they become quite usable again. And I've tested it out, and it does work quite well actually. If you leave it on repair overnight, the next day your battery that was basically like as soon as you start a car, it would just automatically die. Will be like
yeah.
useful. That's how I kept my battery for so long. The car, because like the car battery that I had in my Navara was, I've had the car for almost 7 years, and I reckon the battery was probably already 2 to 1 year old already then.
Wow,
So
that is good.
it lasted almost a decade in that car, I reckon. And the reason why in the last days when I knew that it had failed by a bit, is still kept working is because every weekend I would basically charge it up and top up the water and just like I kept it charged all the time. And so that's how I was prolonging it. And I was doing that because I'm a cheapskate. So like, even though I can get batteries cheaper than most people because obviously with my work I'm fortunate enough that I can get batteries at a cost price rather than a retail price. But yeah, I've now since had an AGM battery put in it. And yeah, so it's fucking heavy. I can tell you that much right now. I would never put lithium battery as my main crank battery. Just because the engine bays get hot and lithiums don't like heat. My boss has put a lithium in his car as a main crank, but his lithium batteries are really expensive, high end, specifically designed one that's insulated and everything. So yeah, the engine bay gets hot, but it's that insulated that I don't think the heat actually gets through anyway. So it keeps it at a stable temperature. I don't know what it does to get the heat out though. That's what I've always wanted to know, how they engineer these crank lithium batteries. Is okay, it's well enough to insulate it, to protect it from the elements, so then that way it works at its optimum range. But the battery gets hot, so how do you get the heat out? So that's one thing I don't understand
Probably
what they
just
do.
heat sinks, some sort of heat sink, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't have anything like that on them. That's why I don't understand.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, time will tell. I'll just see how his goes.
yeah.
In time, see if he ends up having issues with it, which I have a feeling he will. But let's just see how it goes anyway. But lithium's really good for like 12-volt systems, like secondary battery systems. Because lithium you can use, so if you got 150 amp hours, you have the full 150 amp hours, where if you have an AGM or lead acid, you don't have that full 150 or 120. You've only got half. So you usually get 50% out of it, and then once it goes by 50%, the voltage drops quite a lot to the point that's not usable. So for argument's sake, this is a really lame explanation. It's a lot more complicated, but it's argument's sake, you got 120 amp AGM battery. In reality, you've got whatever that is by half. And once you go to the 50% mark and it goes down, you'll then drop voltage. So it'll be 12 volts all the way down to the 50% mark. And then once it goes below 12 volts, it's not that efficient. The efficiency goes down. So it goes to like 11.5 volts, and then it goes down to 9 volts, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so there won't be enough. There won't be enough force to get the electrons across the circuit, so it's just not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's not that. Where lithium, it's 12 volts all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's why lithium is really good. The downside to lithium is it's highly flammable.
Yeah.
So usually when a lithium goes bad, if the control module, the BCM, it's a BCM or BMS. I've got an acronym for it now. The controller for the battery. If that dies, you could potentially run the risk of starting a fire with it. So,
Yay.
and you don't ever want that because you won't be able to put it out. You will, yeah. The best thing to do if your battery catches on fire and it hasn't set anything else on fire is yeet the cunt outside. Fucking yeet it.
Throw it in the ocean.
If you can, yeet it. Don't let it burn because it will just burn everything. It will just melt a hole through the floor. But yeah.
Stick it in your fire pit.
Yeah, basically. You just stick it outside if you can. But when they catch a light, that's pretty quick. And they explode.
Yeah.
You don't really want to be near it usually, so because even if you were to like dump a CO2 fire extinguisher on it, it's not going to do anything. If anything, it'll probably cause the reaction to get even worse. Because you got to remember, lithium is a highly unstable element, and when it starts catching on fire like that, it's changed from Life Force Pro lithium phosphate, whatever fuck it is, to something else. So you can't really put it out with anything really. You could starve it from oxygen. But
yeah, maybe.
But it doesn't need oxygen to react. It will react on itself. That's the problem. So yeah, like you can still stay on fire underwater. So, yeah. But yeah. On other news, did you see that the Tank 300 with the V8 engines land in Australia now?
No.
It's like that Chinese brand. It's a GM. It's a Great Wall.
It's a Great Wall tank.
V8 tank. I think it's 300.
You mean like a military tank?
No, it's called a tank. It's a car. It's a piece of shit.
Okay. I bet.
I don't know why people buy them.
Probably because they're affordable.
I don't know why people buy half the fucking shit. Like, have you seen the cult following with BYD Sharks?
No.
Everyone that owns one just sucks the dick of it. They just like, oh, it's the best thing I've ever owned. Oh! And I'm just like, I'm glad you can justify your purchase. Cool story. I'm glad you like it because I don't. I've been in them. I just no, they're not a great car. But yeah, this is what they look like. They look like a kind of look like a Jimny cross with a Jeep. They're just ugly. But yeah, they're bringing a V8, which is what people want. People do want a V8. I think it's a V8 petrol. I can't remember if it's V8 petrol or V8 diesel. But people do want GWM. It's Great Wall. They just rebranded themselves because they got so much shit. I still wouldn't trust them. For some reason, I don't get people, but they forget. They forget things. They forget that this is a company that had all their brake lines and wiring made out of asbestos. They forget that these cars, that once you buy them, they don't offer any support whatsoever when it comes to warranty. They forget that this car originated from a shit company that didn't change their staffing when they changed names. They forget all that. So whatever, each to their own. If you buy a car and you're happy with it and it doesn't cause any dramas, then that's great. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm still going to judge you. So BYD Sharks, these ones here. Everyone that owns one, you have to be a particular person to buy one, to be honest. But and I've said
I have seen those everywhere. Yeah,
they're so common now. Okay, if you live in a city, and you want something that's relatively cheap to maintain and get you around, then they're actually a good option. But when people say, "Oh, they're good, sort of long leisurely drives and all that sort of stuff," stop kidding yourself. They have a range of 400 and something kilometers. Like,
Oh, what?
yeah, they don't have a good range. So the battery has an 80-kilometer range on it, and then the fuel tank is only 60 liters. It's only got a 60-liter fuel tank. It's a
That's
four-cylinder
bigger than
diesel.
my fuel tank.
Yeah, but look how big the car is, and it's a four-cylinder. Doesn't get you very far.
What the hell?
Yeah, they're not like my fuel tank's an 80-liter, and that's a four-cylinder Nissan Navara. So
You just need a bigger transmission.
but you can't get a bigger tank in this thing either.
You just need a bigger manual transmission and go from point A to point B on a 1 to 125 gear ratio.
Fuel tank volume. The thing is a lot of them. Yeah, that's not gonna help me. 60 liters. Yeah, fuel tank 60 liters. You can't get it bigger, and then you got a battery that will only get you about 80 kilometers. So the guy that I spoke to owns one in town. He says it's got a true range, not what's on paper, a true range of 400 and between 30 and 50 kilometers, I think. 400
Far
it's either 450 or 430 Ks. He only just made it into town. And I mean just.
Oh, no.
If he had to have a delay like a slow truck or something like that in front of him, he wouldn't have made it into town. They do not have a range. You cannot upgrade their range. And when it comes to towing, that range is diminished by exponential. So they are not good for anything other than city driving. City driving, that is where they shine. And when it comes to towing, because they're an electric car, they can tow really well in terms of like pulling. So they can pull really well, but they can't get you very far because their range is diminished because it's electric. Well, it's electric hybrid, but it's electric. The motors drive the car. So the engine powers the battery to then drive the car with the electric motors. That's how it works. So you lose your range. They don't have a great deal tow capacity in terms of like compared to the it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder. Compared to the competitors like the Ford Electric or something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that. It's fucking. How do I block? Yeah, so I don't like them. I like the look of them. They're not an ugly car, but I just they're not for me, and so therefore I don't like them. But for some reason, the people that own them, just fucking I don't know what it is about them. Like some of them are car enthusiasts, so they do know their cars and stuff like that. But they just I don't know what it is about them. They just think they're the bee's knees, but they're only new, so probably in the next few years, time will tell how they hold up in terms of longevity. But I can guarantee you, when things go wrong with these things, they're going to be expensive to fix. And whether they catch on fire or not, because I know their electric counterparts, their SUVs, catch on fire all the time. These things. These fucking things. These things catch on fire quite often. There's been a lot of incidences in South Australia with them catching on fire when I've been looking at the CFS stuff. So, anyway, I still am going to judge you. But would you own one?
No, I don't. I'm really hesitant when it comes to owning an electric vehicle. Hybrid,
Yeah.
maybe that's probably as far as I would go, but full electric is too unreliable.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe when the technology changes, it's definitely a viable option. Like everything's gonna grow. Like I'm not closed off. Electric motors are really good design. Like they've been around for over 100 years. Um, but it's the battery, it's the energy storage systems that I'm not a fan of. Um, and like I would own a hybrid too. Like been looking at the Nissan X Trails, and they're a really good car. Whether they're hybrid or not, they're still a good car. The only thing that lets down the non-hybrid, so like the direct petrol engines, is they have a CVT transmission, and CVT transmissions are just rubbish. They break all the time. And it's not the manufacturer's fault. Like it's not Nissan, it's not Toyota, it's not any of theirs. So it's just they're using the design of a gearbox that is not designed for a car. It's designed for a motorbike, a snowmobile, a all-terrain vehicle like an ATV. You know, like the little side-by-side dune buggy things.
Yeah,
You know, low. They're designed for like vehicles that aren't meant to go over 100 and something kilometers per hour. You know, they're not designed for heavy vehicles. So they're just a weak system that for some reason car manufacturers are putting them in their cars to bring the price down because they are cheaper than an automatic gearbox. But they're just fucking shit. And they're expensive
in
to replace, which makes no sense because they're cheaper, but they're they're
yeah,
expensive still.
yeah. The short term is cheaper, long term is more expensive, which is bad in the long run, obviously, because you got to keep the damn thing working. Otherwise, what's the point of buying it to begin with?
But even if you maintain them, they just break because of their inherently shit design. Because the way they work is they've got a metal, they use metal bands.
Yeah,
Like instead of like a belt, it's like a metal belt. And then it has these two discs that are basically tapered on either side. And when you accelerate, it has technically an infinite range in the way the gears work because it goes up and down. Like it changes ratios because the band goes up and down these tapered cylinders.
yeah.
Um, and that's kind of like how it works. But as you can tell, just by listening to that idea, that's a wear and tear item you can't replace, and that's a wear and tear item that is made out of metal and is constantly on a metal item, and it's constantly going up and down and moving and stretching and doing, you know, it's doing all
That
sorts of weird
yeah.
things, you know, so it inherently fails. You can change the oil as much as you want, and that's good because it will prolong the life, but it will fail. It's not when, it's will. It will fail because it just shit design. I don't like them, but in saying that, the cars are actually pretty good themselves. It's, you know, yeah, they have a CVT system, but yeah, a lot of people knock a lot of car brands and stuff. I do as well, but every single car brand's got its strengths and weaknesses. Just sort of have to pick what best suits you and make sure that it is going to be something that is easy to maintain and you can get it maintained where you live, because a lot of people buy cars without thinking that, and then they move somewhere or they live somewhere where they can't maintain. Like there's a guy in town that owns a Mandra. No one in town can work on it. No one in town can even service the fucking thing because we can't get anything for it. Can't get filters for it or anything because there's nowhere to get them. So you can only get genuine, and you can't get genuine because there's not a dealership in the fucking state. So, you know, it's just, I don't know. People got to do their research. That's all I got to say.
The first point of research is understanding that something's cheap for a reason.
Yeah, well, yeah. I wanted a Toyota Hilux originally, and then I couldn't afford it, so I got a Nissan Navara. And then when I was doing the research and getting it, I realized that it has all these problems. But then after owning it now, I realized that all those problems aren't problems on my model. So
Right.
well, because the biggest problem as well, like you do your research, which is great, but you also need to talk to people who actually work on these vehicles and stuff, because online is always full of negatives before positives, because usually
Right.
people
Yeah,
don't
that
say
makes
anything
sense.
unless a negative thing happens. So of course, when you go looking online, you see nothing but negatives. It's really good tool though to see all the negatives that people have come and then look at the fixes on how to fix them. So you always got that in the back of your mind. But you just gotta go through and see what's causing it, what year is it, and all that sort of stuff. Because a lot of time, car manufacturers start off really shit with a brand, and then towards the end of its life, it actually becomes good again. Because they fix all the problems, except Ford. Ford just don't. They don't fix their problems. They just continue on. But Toyota and all of them, they do actually fix them over time. So yeah, just do your research. Just really think, fact checked, compare everything. Make sure it's what you want. At the end of the day, you get things that you want. But don't go crying to me when you fucking buy a cheap Chinese piece of shit and then go, oh, but it looked nice and it was really cheap, but it wasn't that cheap. But now it's broken and they won't come to the party for warranty because I live near the ocean. Apparently, that's extreme conditions and the warranty's not cut because of that, which is what LDV did to some poor surf lifesaver in Sydney. His car started rusting really badly, and they wouldn't warranty it because he was working next to the ocean, and they regarded that as extreme conditions, so they didn't honor the warranty. Same with forward driving as well. Quite a lot of people's LEVs broke while forward driving, and they're like, "Oh, you were taking it in extreme conditions that it's not designed for." They're like, "Yeah, but you designed it for forward driving." And they're like, "Our wording of forward driving is driving on an unsealed like road." So a dirt road is basically they're like, our off roading is actually driving on a dirt road. That's our off roading, not taking it through sand dunes, not taking it through rocky terrain, not taking it through the mud, which you shouldn't. Should try and avoid mud anyway on any car, unless you have like a old school Nissan Patrol or something like that. That is pretty handy. You know, you just avoid mud, man. Mud fucks everything up. Mud's horrible. I don't like mud. It gets in everything. It just destroys everything it touches. It's such gnarly shit. Oh, it's a good way to wreck your car. But yeah, it's just funny. All right, let's find someone to raid out into, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do the thing.
I have no idea who I want to raid into, though. That's the problem.
Is Goobs on?
Nah, she's always on when we're not on.
Yeah, okay.
Who's that? Of course, ad plays. As soon as I click on someone's channel.
Yeah. Damn pre-roll lads.
They're annoying.
The pre-roll lads or the streamer?
It's like Amazon Prime. Like when I'm watching a video now, I swear they've increased all their ad times. Like it's all minute 30 now. It's ridiculous.
Soon enough, it'll be 15 minutes, and you just be watching regular TV again.
All right, let's raid into this person. I don't know who they are. I always try and pick someone new every week. All right, let's do it. All right, cool. Thank you very much, everybody. Hope you have a good day and night, depending around the world. I do have a video out on the webcam that I'm currently using. It is a unboxing, a setup, and a review, overall review on it. Go check it out. It's I spent a lot of time actually recording it, surprisingly, and I did a side-by-side comparison between the old cam and this cam, as well as a comparison between this microphone, the old cam's microphone, and its microphone. So you will see all that. I actually spent a little bit of time on it. I didn't do a B-roll or anything like that, which I was planning on doing it, but then I decided that I couldn't be fucked. So,
Fair enough then.
So yeah, check it out. It's on YouTube. This will be live on YouTube as well, probably tomorrow. And we'll catch you next time. All right, see ya.
Goodbye.